Kolejny przetarg w spółce centralnej.
Another tender at the Central Transportation Port Company has been cancelled. Why? Because not a single bid was received, even though the government has extended the application period. There will be no tender and the government is still not talking for or against the construction of the Central Transportation Port. Why? And how much will this delay the entire investment? Today I'm taking a closer look.
Dzisiaj sprawdzam.
Dzisiaj trwa przepychanka.
Today there is a pushback by big interest because such airports are not far from here at all in Germany, because such big airports are planned to be built in Austria, because this airport will be a competitor. Therefore, I assure you that the big business and political forces there have the power to influence to block such an investment.
Konkurencją.
So far, the government has failed again. CPK has cancelled the tender for the selection of a firm responsible for auditing the company's marketing and PR activities. The reason for cancelling the tender is that no company submitted a bid. The tender was launched on the 28th of February. The deadline was postponed several times. On the 27th of May, CPK announced the cancellation of the proceedings. What's next for the Central Transportation Port? The government continues to avoid giving a clear message. CPK has grown into some grand dogma that we have to build it because Marcin Horała wants it that way. And when we look at the numbers, it doesn't have to look like that at all. The government has been looking for a hook for the Central Transportation Port all along, but hasn't found one. Time flies and the investment continues to be delayed, and with it, we are losing money as a nation. Strategic investments must be made across political divides. After all, such an important investment serves not only the supporters of a chosen political option, it serves all Poles. This is confirmed by experts. This is not a political trend, it's not about the political party. We simply need an aviation hub for commercial reasons because it's a revenue stream from logistics with cargo, a military need, but also a communications need.
Cargo to jest potrzeba militarna, ale też komunikacyjna.
The Prime Minister stressed that it's also an investment that is supposed to bring VAT or customs benefits, among other things, and that we will not lose but make money from the Central Transportation Port.
Mówią, no jak już się wzbogacimy za...
They confuse some people in this discussion, in this debate, the effect with the cause. They say, well, once we get rich in these 5 to 10 years, says Mr. Lasek, says Mr. Tusk, then maybe one day we will be able to build a Central Transportation Port. We have shown that the exact opposite is true.
Naszą filozofię działania pokazaliśmy, że jest dokładnie odwrotnie.
The Yes to the Central Transportation Port Association has been fighting all along, even collecting signatures for a civic project to save the investment. He wants to oblige the government to realise the Central Communications Port in a deadline of the end of 2030 for the airport element.
Jeśli chodzi o skomunikowanie Polski.
Connecting Poland in this globalizing world, perhaps divided into two main blocks, the Western Bloc and the Chinese Bloc, this airport is absolutely needed by Poland.
I ten blok zachodni i blok chiński.
Just like the civic platform's assurances about the need for the Vistula split crossing. In Kąty Rybackie in Żuławy, on the initiative of Civic Platform in 2006, there was even a statue of a fisherman with a shovel driven into the sand, symbolizing the need to connect the Vistula lagoon in the Bay of Gdansk. When Law and Justice took charge of the investment, the necessity was no longer there.
Skoro natura tego przekopu nie zrobiła.
If nature had wanted the crossing to exist, it would have.
Gdyby natura chciała, żeby tam był przekop, to by był.
The Vistula split crossing has been realised in spite of the political objections of the Civic Platform Party, for the good of both nature and above all the Polish economy. Edyta Hołudynska, TV Republica. The statements of the new head of the Office of Veterans and People Repressed by Donald Tusk's government, Lech Wałęsa, do not fall silent. During the celebrations of the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Monte Cassino, he focused on the grandparents from the Wehrmacht, a highly controversial phrase considering the circumstances of such a momentous anniversary. Why did it appear at all? These words of the head of the Office for Veterans and Victims of Repression, Lech Wałęsa, were not recorded by anyone. Only a pamphlet distributed on the hill of Monte Cassino remained. There were 90,000 such soldiers, our Wehrmacht grandfathers, in our army, more even than those who managed to escape from the Soviet Union. These words were to be said on the graves of Polish soldiers who fought against the Germans.
Jest to odgrzewanie pewnych politycznych sentymentów.
This is a rehearsing of certain political sentiments, and it is not the job of the Office for Veterans and Victims of Repression to explain the question of the affiliation of former Wehrmacht soldiers of Polish origin in the Polish armed forces in the West in such a twisted way. So it is definitely not befitting such a place at such a time.
Nie przystoi w takim miejscu, w takim czasie.
The words about grandparents from the Wehrmacht are not a coincidence, but a planned strategy. Minister Powell of Donald Tusk's government appointment a few days earlier, during the Warsaw celebrations of the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Monte Cassino, also mentioned this.
Ale widzimy jednak również tych,
którzy zasilali szereg.
But we also see here those who joined the Polish ranks through a path that is often forgotten today, relegated to the shadows, passed over into silence, namely those who were forcibly conscripted into the Wehrmacht and who deserted at the right opportunity. Few today realize that there were as many as 90,000 such soldiers.
Się okazji zdezerterowali.
Lech Paurel is associated with politicians of the Civic Platform, mainly the Tri-City one.
Ja oczywiście tak to czytam jako próba zaskarbienia sobie.
I, of course, read it in this way as an attempt to win sympathy of Prime Minister Donald Tusk, but I repeat that the Office for Veterans and Repressed Persons is not to win the sympathy of politicians or even more to carry out certain political missions from 19 years ago. Refer to the political sentiments of the election campaign.
Zamierzchł przecież sprzed 19 lat odnosić się do politycznych sentymentów.
This is, of course, about the story of Donald Tusk's grandfather, Joseph.
To kłamstwo polega na tym, jakoby dziadek Donalda Tuska.
This lie is that Donald Tusk's grandfather defected to the armed forces in the West. If someone was in any army, then everyone in his family for 100 years ahead or 100 years afterwards remember in what army he was, in what unit, and at what rank, and what the grading was, what was the combat route, what were the decorations and awards. Here, of course, there is none of this because Donald Tusk's grandfather was not a soldier in the Polish forces in the West. He was not in the Anders army. This is simply a pyramidal lie.
Na zachodzie nie był w armii Andersa, to jest po prostu piramidalne kłamstwo.
German motifs have been running through Donald Tusk's political career from the very beginning. That is the creation of the Civic Platform. He was able to come into being thanks to money from Germany, specifically the CDU party of Angela Merkel and Ursula von der Leyen. Money could have been because at that time foreign money was abundant in Poland. The West supported Polish democracy. After all, people were getting packages from Germany. No wonder Tusk is so submissive to German CDU politicians, just as almost 20 years ago, before Erika Steinbach, who wanted reparations from World War II from Poles. We are investing in the revitalization of cultural heritage, German cultural heritage in Polish lands today. With such good intentions, we would like to return. I will say frankly at the end, I have not changed anything in my perception, and it is difficult to be more positively sensitized to the German problem in Poland. Or was it 3 years ago? Thanking the CDU for its wonderful governance in Europe, not to mention, of course, who fed Putin and financed the Russian army through Nord Stream pipelines. Your art of governance has been a blessing not only for Germany, but for all of Europe. For his deference to Berlin, Tusk has repeatedly received awards. Now there are many indications that what is happening with the CPK, our country's nuclear power plant, or shipping on the Oder River, is not an accident. Here, this German interest will always be above the Polish interest, and the fact that now Donald Tusk is talking about certain solutions is just a cynical game in the election marathon. The elections will be over and the real Donald Tusk will come out. The question, whose interest should the Prime Minister represent and fight for in Warsaw, Polish or German? Every Pole knows the answer. Adrian Borecki, TV Republica. Ukraine's use of weapons supplied by its Western allies against targets inside Russia would not make NATO and its members part of the conflict. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said at a European Union meeting on Tuesday. Speaking ahead of a meeting with EU defence ministers, Stoltenberg said NATO allies have the right to support Ukraine.
The fact that we are delivering equipment to Ukraine doesn't make NATO party to the conflict. We have the right to support Ukraine without becoming a party to the conflict because we are helping Ukraine to uphold the right for self-defense. This war can end tomorrow if the government, the country that started the war, President Putin, stops to attack Ukraine. The challenge is that we see no signs that President Putin, Russia, is planning to end this war. On the opposite, we are seeing that they are stepping up. So it's for Ukrainians to decide what are acceptable conditions for an agreement.
Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022 touched off the worst breakdown in relations between Russia and the West since the 1962 Cuban Missile Crisis. Russia is now advancing along the front line in Ukraine. Teams of divers in Croatia recently removed more than 200 kilograms of fishing nets and 6 fish traps during 2 dives in and around Molat Island. Nets and fish traps are the most dangerous part because they are located at quite great depth. Today we took out approximately 200 kilograms of nets and 6 fish traps in 2 dives. This was done with 6 divers across 2 dives. The amount that we know is there around Moor Islands, that is the entire water area. It would take us a month of diving twice a day in order to clean the polluted area we have discovered so far. The divers said the nets and fish traps are harming fish and other marine life by trapping them. To remove these nets and traps, the divers used balloons to bring the long nets and traps up to the surface. The team also removed ghost gear, which are fishing equipment lost or accidentally discarded in the sea.
Today we have been diving for ghost gear, which means that we were trying to find lost fishing gear that people or lost by accident or forgot it in sea. And this is one of the problems in Adriatic Sea, that there is lack of resources, lack of fish and lack of biodiversity at this moment. And with this activity we're trying to make things better.
The initiative, which started a year ago, is backed by the Worldwide Fund for Nature and local NGO groups. 2 pink river dolphins stranded in a stream in central Bolivia were rescued and returned to the wild on Friday, local authorities said. The dolphins, a mother and her 7-month-old calf, had been stranded in a stream in Villa Tunari, Cochabamba, for 40 days following severe flooding in the region. Both dolphins are in very good health. They are a mother of 80 kilos and her calf of 35 kilos. Both are females. They will be happy to be back in the Isidoro River, where they should be. The rescue operation involved a coordinated effort by rescuers and environmentalists who used nets to capture the dolphins. After a health check, the dolphins were carefully transported by van to the Isidoro River in the Bolivian Amazon, where they were released back into their natural habitat. The dolphins had been swept into the stream by the floods and, due to the reduced water flow, could not return to the main river.